Rumors were swirling all over knew that Julian was getting married, but I, his girlfriend, was the only one who didn't know. Just as I was overjoyed, thinking he was about to surprise me, I saw messages from another woman on his phone. Julian, I bought a new lace nightgown. Would you like me to wear it for you on our wedding night? I instantly turned pale. So he really was getting married, but the bride wasn't me? Then, what role had I played in those 7 years of unwavering devotion? Finally, on the day Julian announced to everyone that he had finally married the woman of his dreams, I threw away all our past memories and boarded a cruise ship heading away from her home city. But later, he spent a fortune and finally got news of me. I saw my husband off to work. Then I turned and met Julian's gaze. He could no longer maintain his gentle demeanor. He grabbed my hand, out of control. Why did you leave? What does he have that I don't? I smiled. In his world, I am the only one. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. My whole body felt weak, too exhausted to even lift my hands. I had only been away on a business trip for half a month. Julian was like a ravenous wolf, desperate to tear me apart. He gently kissed my forehead. There's still work I haven't finished. You should sleep first. Just as I was about to curse him, I heard a message notification chime on his phone. Julian, I bought your favorite lace nightgown. Do you want to see me in black or white? Shall I wear it for you on our wedding night? You can bother me as much as you want looking at the suggestive photo she sent. My heart stopped. The woman in the photo was wearing the same lace nightgown as me, and the wall behind her was covered in wedding decorations. That was her and Julian's marital home. And what about me? At this moment, what role had I become? Why aren't you asleep yet? Aren't you tired enough? Julian came in, holding a glass of milk. Amused, he scooped me off the bed and onto his lap. My voice trembled as I pushed his phone toward him. Your future wife is asking if you prefer this nightgown in black or white. His face instantly darkened. He took his phone without a word. Go to sleep when you're done acting out. I'll pick you up tomorrow to go out. The door slammed shut. The sound of his car driving away grew fainter and fainter. I couldn't stop the tears from falling. From beginning to end, he never thought of giving me an explanation. In the past, he would even call me specifically to let me know if he was going out for dinner with a female colleague, and he would end the dinner early to come home and be with me. Julian and I met at an art exhibition. When we first started dating, many people bet that our relationship wouldn't last more than a week. This was simply because I was an unknown artist back then, constantly rushing between major art exhibitions with my paintings. Meanwhile, his family was prominent, a well-known presence in New. With one move, he bought all my paintings, a price that shocked all of New. Even before we were together, a friend advised, I heard that young master is quite the playboy. He can go through 5 or 6 women a month. You need to be careful. Before I could reply, my friend laughed again, but he treats his girlfriends well. He gives them whatever they want, famously generous. Who would dare bully you after that? After hearing my friend's words, I honestly couldn't develop any good feelings for him. Yet, in the end, I succumbed to his tenderness. Back then, Julian was so exhausted every day that he had to split his rest time in half, yet he would stay up all night just so I could have freshly baked chestnut cakes. Then, at the campus entrance, he would shout, "Wifey, time to wake up and eat." That's how he pursued me for a whole year. But now, he was getting married. Not only was the bride not me, but I, his girlfriend, was the last to know. I spent the whole day in a daze, sitting blankly in front of my easel after finishing the sketches I was working on. Until came to pick me up, acting as if nothing was wrong. Come on, I heard there's a really good restaurant. I'll take you there. Let's go. I furiously pounded my fists all over him. Go get married. He didn't get angry. Instead, he leaned against the car, still seemed to want more. You should calm down now that you've let off steam. His fingers traced my neck, suggestively. The marks from last night were still there. Grace, no one is a better match for us. He pressed close, pinned me against the wall, our eyes locked. Our relationship won't change because of other factors, right? I'm just getting married, but my love for you won't diminish at all. But seeing that I showed no signs of relenting, Julian's patience wore thin. He gripped my wrist hard in his palm. Grace, you need to understand. In my position, it was out of my control. My eyes were blurry with tears. Did his being out of control mean I had to sacrifice my happiness to make it happen? Seeing me cry so sadly, his demeanor softened a little. Grace, love and responsibility can sometimes be separated. Isn't it enough for you to know that I love you very much? I looked up in despair, letting out a cold snort. So what? You love me, so I should accept you marrying someone else? His gaze darkened for a moment, then he smiled indifferently. It seems I haven't been clear enough. My meaning is, I will be with you my entire life. Everything I promised you before, I will do. But you have to allow me to get married first. He even shrugged, as if in his eyes, being his mistress for life was some kind of honor. Before I could answer, he leaned forward, his cold lips grazing my ear as he whispered lazily, Grace, aren't the artists in your circle like this too? The more talented they are, the more unrestrained and spontaneous they are, pursuing freedom in life. Isn't our current situation perfectly suited to your style? Furious, I slapped him without a moment's hesitation. I was the youngest artist in Los, every painting I sold went for a high price. But my dream, my innate artistic talent, in his mouth, became a standard for judging someone's character. Grace, don't be ungrateful. He forcefully pushed me into the car. No matter how much I screamed or struggled, he just took it. Until the car stopped in front of an upscale mall, and he carried my exhausted self into a lingerie store. Which one looks good? It was a lace nightgown similar to the one from last night. He picked one out for me on his own, then handed another color to the sales associate. Wrap it up and have it sent to this address. Every movement of his was like a red-hot steel knife, slowly piercing my chest. He wouldn't stop until he carved out my heart. Unable to bear it any longer, I ripped the garment apart and strode away from that suffocating place. He pulled me back forcefully from behind. Grace, how long will you keep acting out? You'll get used to it, won't you? I laughed absurdly. Get used to sharing my partner with another woman. How could I allow myself to be a secret mistress? I locked myself in my art studio, deluding myself that this was a way to temporarily escape reality. But soon found me at my workplace, bringing Julian's mother with her. Miss Grace, I've always known my son had a girlfriend outside. But honestly, given your background, you're simply not good enough for my son. You don't know this, do you? Audrey has waited for Julian for 10 years. If you hadn't interfered, they would have been married long ago. I advise you to be sensible and quickly give Julian back to Audrey. Mrs. Margaret demanded, as if it were her right. Both women came on strong and aggressively. Their overbearing attitude made many guests at the art studio stop and stare. I opened my mouth, but before I could speak, I heard Audrey make another dema. ND. If you still love Julian, you should understand his difficulties. The company faced financial difficulties, and if he can marry successfully, this problem would be easily resolved. As long as you break up with him willingly and cooperate with my people to take some incriminating photos, I can give you 1 million as compensation. After all, you did spend some time with him. Don't worry, we won't really do anything to you. It's just to show him the photos so he completely gives up on you. After all, you're too much of a temptation for him. Audrey slightly lifted her chin. She looked at me condescendingly, and even considerately thought everything through for me, seemingly confident that I wouldn't refuse such a very tempting offer. I lowered my head and gave a bitter laugh, unsure if that last sentence was even a compliment. I buried my sorrowful tears deep inside and smiled calmly. Of course I'll break up with him, but I won't cooperate with you to demean myself and sacrifice my reputation. If you want this jerk, then you keep a close watch on him yourself. Audrey's eyes widened suddenly, and she pointed at me, infuriated, for a long time without speaking. So you're refusing me? I raised an eyebrow as if it were obvious. Of course. Since things didn't go as planned, Audrey naturally wouldn't give up. The very next morning, I received a grand gift from Audrey. You want to protect your reputation? I hope you, Miss Grace, will like my gift. As soon as the call ended, reporters appeared from nowhere, swarming around me. Miss Grace, is it true that you have a promiscuous private life, accommodating everyone? We hear Mr. Julian was also deceived into being your plaything. So, do you really enjoy the feeling of being a mistress? I was so angry I wanted to laugh. Only someone like Audrey could twist the facts like this. I was pressed back by microphones to the art studio door, with nowhere left to retreat. And precisely because of the negative impact on me, the internet launched a crackdown on ethical misconduct in the industry. The president approached me, a look of deep reluctance on his face. Even though he knew there were other hidden circumstances, For the sake of the association's future, he decided to permanently close my art studio and revoke my professional license. And I was prohibited from publicly selling my paintings. My future was utterly ruined. Feeling utterly defeated, I returned to my apartment. As soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I saw a chaotic hallway, maliciously filled with dead rats and repulsive flyers. And my mother was the instigator of all of this. Thank you, dear netizens, for your generous tips. At that moment, I felt as though I'd been plunged into an ice pit. What are you doing? I uttered blankly. Seeing me return, she shamelessly aimed the camera at my face. Everyone, look. This is the shameless mistress. I instinctively recoiled from the camera. Quickly, I snatched her phone and smashed it against the wall. She grabbed my hair frantically and slapped me hard. You had done something shameful and still dared to boss me around. You've lost your job, can't I even make some money? I leaned against the wall in despair. Tears fell silently. Huh? Crying now? You have the nerve to cry? I haven't cried, even though you've completely disgraced me. What do you have to cry about? A dirty mistress, you're not fit to be my daughter. She pulled an agreement from her handbag and threw it at me. I regret letting you pursue an art career back then. I told you artists are morally corrupt, but you wouldn't believe it. Now look at you, reduced to this state. Just like your good-for-nothing father. Quickly sign this disinheritance agreement. I don't want to be scorned and called the mother who raised a mistress. I was utterly disappointed. With trembling hands, I signed my name. At this point, I had nothing left. The live stream farce ended. The apartment was eerily quiet. Looking at the merciless gossip about me online, I felt like I was nailed to the pillar of shame, with passers-by cursing me. Shameless mistress, I hope you die. Julian called me countless times. Grace, in the age of viral trends, news fades quickly. Just bear with it, try not to go out during this time. I'll have someone deliver groceries and essentials to you. Listening to his calm voice on the other end, I scoffed and pinched myself, forcing myself to stay clear-headed. Was this the person I had loved with all my might? I turned off my phone. I opened my webcam and applied for a live streaming account on a platform. Regarding the recent online rumors, I will respond with the following points. Mr. Julian and I officially began our relationship 5 years ago. As for the impending marriage between him and Ms. Audrey, I was unaware of it before it happened. I was unknowingly cast as the mistress. For the truth, you can check the portfolio from the youth competition 5 years ago. The netizens' speed was beyond imagination. They quickly dug up his 3-word love note written for me on the winning artwork from that year. Overnight, public opinion reversed, and Audrey and Julian were plunged into a deep well of public criticism. The marriage alliance between the Joe and Audrey families faced significant problems. Financial funding was cut off, and Julian flew into a rage. After discovering his calls to me were blocked, he rushed to my apartment. What followed was an overwhelming barrage of questions. Grace, Audrey is already very angry. If you don't stop now, your dad's cemetery will be made public. Just make a public apology. As long as she got what she wanted, she wouldn't bother you anymore. I was utterly stunned. He always knew that the only important person to me in this life was my father. For my father's peace, I could only choose to humble myself. For the press conference, the Audrey family invested heavily, inviting over 100 media outlets. I stood before the microphone, my eyes vacant. Below the stage, several reporters whispered their support for me. Don't be afraid, speak the truth freely. We support you. I gave a bitter smile. I apologize for taking up your valuable time. The live stream a while ago was entirely my own doing. I was malicious and framed Ms. Audrey. And my accusations against Mr. Julian were pure defamation. It was all my fault. With every word I uttered, my heart bled a little more. Julian took the microphone at the opportune moment and had staff bring up a painting. I instinctively rushed forward but was blocked by several bodyguards at the foot of the stage. Given the misunderstanding caused by Ms. Grace recently, I have purchased that painting from back then at a high price. That 3-word love note was merely a complimentary phrase I copied from the internet, but it caused such a huge misunderstanding. To give my fiancé peace of mind, I've decided to burn this painting here and now. The protest that escaped my lips was muffled, my mouth forcibly covered, leaving me unable to make a sound. That token of our love from that year was now only my delusion. The blinding flames almost seared my eyes. I was secretly sent back to my apartment. The door was maliciously covered with malicious symbols. Julian tiredly opened the door with his key. He habitually sat beside me and put his arm around my shoulders. Move in with me tomorrow. It's quiet, and the property deed will be in your name. Consider it compensation for not being able to marry you. Once I'm married to Audrey, I'll move in and live with you. He affectionately buried his head in my neck. As if nothing had happened, he kissed the corner of my mouth. I'm really tired lately. Just sleep well with me. I pulled away from his embrace without a change in expression. Don't you think you're being a jerk? Julian laughed dejectedly. Haven't I always been a jerk? He patted my head reassuringly. Don't think about leaving me, Grace. You can't leave me. He stood up. He picked up his car keys and walked out the door. Wait obediently at home. I'll go buy you something good to eat. After he left, I slowly stood up, packed my luggage, and after getting everything ready, I tripped over a stone at the doorway and fell to the ground. A tearing pain in my lower abdomen left me momentarily confused. Watching the blood slowly seep and snake across the floor, my vision gradually blurred. I converted the apartment Julian had given me into cash. And all the paintings about him in the study, along with the things he had given me, were taken to the incinerator and burned to ashes. I bought a cruise ship ticket with no destination, cleanly bidding farewell to my past. 2 years later, I received an email from him, with an oil painting attached. I've tried my best to replicate it, but I still can't achieve the effect you created back then. Will you come back and help me? I miss you so much. I clicked delete without a ripple of emotion and blocked him. But when I finished with the art exhibition and returned to the lounge, a strange number suddenly called my phone. Hesitantly, I answered, and a familiar voice came through. Grace, I will definitely find you. His disgusting display of affection made me instinctively hang up, a wave of disgust giving me goosebumps. Julian, who hadn't received a response for a long time, slumped dejectedly in his office chair. Audrey, wearing high heels, stormed into the office and decisively splashed a cup of coffee on Julian's face. Julian, are you having an affair right in front of me? Audrey's voice was so loud that almost everyone in the secretarial office looked inside, and Julian's reputation was severely damaged. He stood up and raged. If your family hadn't pushed so hard back then, how would it have come to this? Julian practically vented all the anger he had bottled up. Audrey laughed, exasperated. What can your anger do? Dawn. Forget, you're already married to me. And don't even think about divorce. I'm telling you, as long as my family doesn't agree, you will always be Audrey's husband. He sat weakly on the sofa, finally understanding what it felt like to have shot himself in the foot. From that day on, Audrey sent people to keep a close watch on him, not allowing him any opportunity to contact the outside world. He absent-mindedly returned to that small apartment he once lived in. Looking at the familiar layout, he finally felt a sliver of relaxation. But when he pushed open the study door with anticipation, he didn't see the paintings as usual, only blank canvases and overturned paints scattered on the floor. All those paintings about him were gone. He drank alcohol all night in that study. It seemed only then could he vaguely imagine seeing the person he longed for day and night. So this was the pain of a heart that felt empty. And so he frantically cut off all of the Audrey family's businesses and collaborations, throwing all pretense aside without regard for Audrey's reputation. Mrs. Margaret finally stepped in and decided to end the farce, compensating the Audrey family with a large portion of their assets. Only then did Julian get out of the marriage that tormented him for nearly 3 years. Many years later, I never expected to reunite with Julian on the streets of a European city. At that moment, I had just arrived at the kindergarten entrance. I saw Lily talking to a tall man. How about I take you and your mom to Disneyland another day? Your mom loves cute things the most. Seeing Nod, I immediately rushed over and pulled the child into my arms. Seeing me appear, Julian's eyes welled up with deep yearning. Grace, I'm divorced. That was the first thing he said. Compared to the vibrant and confident man he was years ago, he was now like a withered flower, clinging to the last remnants of affection. I couldn't guess his intention in telling me this now. I had been out of tea. Air lives for a long time. I simply didn't care what state he was in. I grabbed Lily's hand and coldly brushed past him. Lily, next time you meet a strange adult, don't talk to them casually. They might kidnap you and make mommy sad. Lily nodded fearfully, her gaze at Julian no longer as hopeful as before. Julian, with his limbs stiffened, chased after us. Watching me take Lily into a cake shop, he followed us in and even paid before I could. He was about to shamelessly try to take credit when Lily's words cut deep. "Kidnapper uncle, are you trying to steal my dad's birthday cake too?" The child's words stunned Julian for a long time. He squatted down blankly, meeting Lily's gaze. "You have a dad? But isn't your dad me?" He hung his head in disappointment. Lily hid behind my legs, scared. Her small hand gripped my pants tightly. I quickly picked her up and gently stroked her head to comfort her. "Mr. Julian, it's your freedom to be in this place. I have no right to control you. But please watch your words and actions. Lily is my child, and I will not allow any harm to come near her. Also, please clarify things so you don't bring trouble to my family again. After all, your wife has too many dirty tricks." I turned and left the cake shop, holding Lily. Julian quickly followed, blurting out an apology. "I know we had a child, Grace, I'm sorry." His eyes were bloodshot, filled with apologies for me. Hearing him mention that child, my mind wandered for a moment, and before I could react, the weight in my hands lightened. I looked up to see that someone had helped me. He skillfully took the items from my hands, then picked up the child and kissed me on the lips. "Sorry, Lily, Daddy got off work late today. How about I take you for ice cream tomorrow as an apology?" Julian saw it all, dumbfounded, witnessing everything. That child. He had always been a scar in my heart. I didn't deny he was conceived out of love. But his timing was so perfect, exactly on the day Julian stopped loving me. 3 years ago, I had a miscarriage and was hospitalized. I received a call from my former mentor, who had studied abroad. He enthusiastically invited me to continue my advanced studies with him. At that time, both mentally and physically devastated, I just wanted to escape to heal. But that unborn child. No one knew he had existed. Even his departure was so quiet. And, perhaps, was heaven's compassionate gift to me. In my first year in a European city, due to my unstable mental state, I would often wander aimlessly through the streets, walking to the cemetery where a small urn rested. That was the best cemetery plot I bought with the money from Julian's apartment, and the freshest fruits were placed before the grave every day. At that time, Lily was a homeless child, who would come on time every day to sneak and eat the offerings. When I caught her, she only dared to ask trembling, begging for my forgiveness. Her eyes were staring at me with shining eyes. From that day on, I had a child by my side. Perhaps, this was the gift that child sent to me. As for this adult who often appeared at the kindergarten entrance, once Lily realized he wouldn't harm her, her initial fear gradually turned into curiosity. Julian was very skilled at winning people over, and within a few days, he and Lily were getting along famously. The little imp even took the initiative to ask me if she could invite him over for dinner. Of course, I decisively refused, but seeing Lily's crestfallen face, I felt a bit of reluctance. Because she knew she was adopted, Lily was always extra careful with my emotions and rarely expressed her true feelings. Julian timely interrupted the awkwardness, suggesting they take Lily out to eat instead. Seeing the little imp so rarely yearning to do something, I could only nod in agreement. Lily played wildly all day and fell asleep on Julian's chest on the way back. "Haven't you already found out that Lily isn't your child?" On the M. Proprietary Street, my words clearly reached his ears. Julian turned his head to look at the child sleeping soundly in his arms. "But she is your child." I was touched by his current sentiment, he loved anything connected to her. "But that child from back then was yours." Seeing how much he doted on Lily, I suddenly wondered if that child were still alive, our lives might not be as peaceful as they are now. 3 years ago, Julian would only have thought of that child as a tool to force his hand. "Don't you remember? You personally killed that child." I intentionally lowered my voice, afraid Lily would wake up to such a heavy atmosphere. Julian's dry throat swallowed. "Grace, do you hate me very much?" I immediately cut him off. "Yes, I do. Without you, my life wouldn't have been such a mess." Julian's breathing grew heavy. "I'm sorry." I silently accepted the apology on behalf of the child. He awkwardly looked up, carefully placing the child in the back seat of the car. "Is that man good to you?" No one knew how much pain he felt asking that question. "Very good. With him, I've felt warmth and respect I'd never felt before. All I've ever wanted is this simple life, not to be caught up in scandals, with my privacy completely exposed." I nodded affirmingly. meeting was the second most fortunate thing that happened to me after coming to this country. The first was adopting Lily. Seeing me allowed a genuine smile of happiness to show, he closed his eyes in grief. Then my presence here, will it affect your happiness? It was the first time I saw Julian humbly and cautiously pleaded, just to stay by my side. Of course, I knew his intention behind this. I also knew why he was so frequently trying to win Lily over. He was waiting for me to turn back. But I had poured all my love into him, only to be left with scars and a ruined career. Julian, your existence is the biggest obstacle for me. Go back to your world. Let's not see each other again. Back home, eating the maya Ethan made for me, I had never felt so content. Lily was disappointed when she didn't find Julian after waking up, but she didn't cry. That night, as she slept, she nestled into my arms. Mommy, the bad adult is gone. Are you a little happier now? I paused, surprised that the child was so sensitive to emotions. Her tiny hand touched my stomach, and she blew gently on it. The bad adult told me today that the long scar on your tummy was caused by him. It must have hurt a lot. Then the bad adult isn't Lily's friend anymore. I don't make friends with people who hurt Mommy. The little girl's tears flowed freely. I chuckled and pinched her little nose. Little imp, it wasn't entirely the bad adult's fault. You can still be good friends with him. That scar used to hurt a lot because, besides the bad adult, other people who were closer to Mommy hurt her too. But the day I met Lily, this scar stopped hurting. Because came to be Mommy's guardian. The little imp puffed up with pride, then snuggled obediently into my arms. Then is Mommy's guardian. I wasn't at all surprised to see Audrey at the art exhibition I was hosting. After all, if Julian came, Audrey would definitely come back. She was as overbearing as ever. Pointing at the child beside me, she launched into a series of questions. Just because you secretly had Julian's child, I can utterly disgrace you again. Why do you keep trying to steal people away from me, again and again? The same old tactics made me laugh. After my assistant took Lily away, I finally had the presence of mind to scrutinize the woman who had once brought me to my knees. Did I steal him? You didn't keep your man on a leash, that's why he wandered off. Is that the only trick you have, Ms. Audrey? Aren't you afraid I'll expose the truth from back then and utterly disgrace you? Audrey raised her eyebrows triumphantly. How could you possibly have that kind of ability? Someone who only knows how to paint. You have no power or influence, and you're raising a child. You can't fight me. She raised her head proudly, just as she had when she forced me to break up with Julian. But the next second, her expression froze. Crowds of media swarmed in. Ethan, dressed in a well-tailored suit, walked up to Audrey and extended his right hand. Hello, Ms. Audrey. Given your defamation against my wife 3 years ago, I am now filing a lawsuit against you on behalf of my client. No one expected what was supposed to be a regular art exhibition to turn into a confrontation. Audrey's eyes vacant, her face pale. Grace, what right do you have to sue me? Just because of your lawyer husband? Soon, laughter came from behind. It's rare to hear someone joke about Mr. Ethan's identity these days. Seeing me laughing uncontrollably, Ethan helplessly rubbed my head. Always bothering me. You're drinking chicken soup tonight. You just recovered from a cold, you should wear more clothes. I nodded obediently. I clung to Ethan's arm, eager to stir up trouble. Ms. Audrey, going to court with my husband is expensive. You know, over 3 years, Ethan and I had collected a lot of evidence of the Audrey family's illegal activities. All for the day I could clear my name, something I was incapable of doing back then. I handed over all the incriminating evidence I had collected to the court. I immediately caught a red-eye flight back to New, just to witness the downfall of the Audrey family. Julian's mother even asked to meet me, hoping I would ease my terms. If I would withdraw the lawsuit, she and the Audrey family would give me $10 million in compensation. You and Julian had a past, after all. Why damage the reputation of our families? You don't know how much Julian has suffered these past few days. For the sake of your past love, please let Audrey go. She was Julian's ex-wife, after all. If it weren't for her, Julian wouldn't have made it through those 3 years. I smiled and pushed the card back. Mrs. Margaret, have you forgotten that you also played a significant part in all of this back then? Don't worry, I'll return the favor to each of you, one by one. Her face changed dramatically. Her finger trembled as she pointed at me, her eyes filled with disappointment. How could Julian fall for a woman with a viper's heart like you? Will you only be satisfied when you see Julian publicly scorned? I tilted my head silently. Why not? The family's bankruptcy happened in the blink of an eye. Seizing this opportunity, I released the audio recordings of the threats from back then. In an instant, the internet erupted in a storm of condemnation. What kind of man is this? He has no ability himself and has to sell out his girlfriend? Excuse me, if your family has no money, what does that have to do with your girlfriend? Support the upstairs comment. I totally understand the feeling of being unknowingly cast as the mistress. It's truly like being left speechless without any substantial truth to defend yourself. The power of public opinion is terrifying. I can't imagine how this young woman got through it. My heart aches for her. Beyond condemning Julian for his inaction, more netizens furiously attacked the family corporation that abused its power, exposing a long list of illegal activities to reveal the Audrey family's true hypocritical nature. More and more people uncovered the dark truth about the Audrey family's factory. They exploited workers with long hours, leading to nearly 10 deaths from overwork each year. Public outrage surged, and many people gathered downstairs at the Audrey family's company, holding up signs that read, "Unethical company. Shut it down." The real truth would not remain buried forever. For 3 years, I constantly improved myself, precisely so I wouldn't repeat the same mistakes as in the past. It wasn't until I saw Audrey convicted that I truly felt alive again. Everything was all settled. The end painting in Losery extend. Ed an invitation, asking me to become a member and lifting the indefinite suspension of my art studio's operations. Watching the business license I once treasured so much return to my hands, I reflected for a long time, but still declined the association's invitation. Mr. Harrison understood and didn't insist. He simply issued an immediate announcement, restoring my professional standing. After all of this, all I wanted was to quickly return to New and hold my child, sleeping soundly. But then Mrs. Margaret called me, saying Julian had gone missing. Please, I'm so sorry for what I did to you in the past. But you know him best. I beg you, please help me find him. Only then, hearing her mention it, did I remember I hadn't seen him since. He hadn't even shown up at the Audrey family's public trial. Hesitantly, I returned to the old apartment. The moment I stepped into the hallway, I was choked by a strong smell of cigarette smoke. He quickly stomped out his cigarette butt, standing obediently in the hallway like a child who had done something wrong. I silently confronted him for a long time. Your mom has been looking for you for a while. You should go home. As soon as I said that, I intended to leave, but he pulled me back. He had dark circles under his eyes, and stubble on his chin. I've collected all your paintings, but it's a shame there isn't a single portrait of you. I frowned deeply, instinctively snapping at him, are you insane? He shook his head, a wry smile playing on his lips. You once said that every painter has a muse in their heart. And those often depicted in paintings must be very important to the painter. That study used to be filled with my portraits. He pointed to the now empty room, then carefully showed me the paintings he held. His clothes still had wet paints on them. I know my paintings aren't as good as yours. So, could you give me another chance to be your exclusive model? It was during my senior year of college that I first participated in the youth competition. I often struggled to find inspiration. But it wasn't until I fell in love with Julian that my paintbrush found its soul. On the day of the finals, I invited him to be my model and painted a portrait. That day also marked a significant change in my life. But now, that painting was gone. I crossed my arms sarcastically. If knew there was a man eager to be my model, he'd get jealous. But then I forgot, Mr. Julian doesn't seem to have much of a moral compass when it comes to mistresses. Julian's lips thinned. I realized it too late, Grace. Back then, I naively believed love was just about being together. But I forgot that love's prerequisite is commitment and responsibility. I chuckled, clapping my hands. So, what, are you applying to be my lover now? Julian's eyes were confused. But after a moment's thought, a faint glimmer appeared in his eyes, showing a hint of yearning. I stepped back, incredulous. Grace, as long as I can stay by your side, I'll do anything. He spoke with difficulty. But I was so genuinely disgusted that I gagged. You might be willing, but I'm not. Julian, there's no way for us anymore. I turned and walked away decisively. Under the dim streetlights, Ethan was waiting for me with a gentle smile on his face. Is it over? It's over. I gratefully leaned into Ethan's embrace. I comfortably nestled my head against his chest. Let's go home.